them. Brown reportedly started the discussion and told Reid he will prohibit kneeling by players on his team next season. Reid said last month he was not planning on kneeling in the future, but was not willing to commit to that with Brown. We're joined by Rob Parker. Welcome, Rob. Good morning.
What's happening? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Rob, what's going on here?
You know, when you hear this story and Eric Reif said probably not going to kneel, you know what I mean, without having to make a firm commitment, to me that should be enough if you're going to bring a guy in. He's already kind of talked about it. He put it out there. And this is the issue I have with the Bengals and moving forward. They've had no issues of giving people second chances who have broken the law up not done anything illegal.
Right.
Whether you agree or disagree, and we could have that conversation.
But, Rob, we've already established
We know that. I know.
that they view this as worse.
Right? Whether it's a fist or being a face of it or talking about it or whatever. That team went on to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then what did they do in the offseason? Added a guy.
He's 6 years of age. He's a former Pro Bowl player. I think he was high, like third or fourth on the team in tackles.
So he, another guy who also, despite kneeling, performed on the football field. Here's a Bengals team trying to do something. Here's a good player who's available, and instead they pass because the owner doesn't like it. This is why the Bengals don't win and why teams that play this game don't win, because they're overlooking talent.
Correct.
It should be always the thing about sports is that it is an equal playing field, right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the best guy who can play the game should get the opportunity. And here they're playing games. I hate this a lot. I feel bad for Eric.
Talent, right? He's risked, I'm going to try this guy because he's really a good football player who has very questionable character.
He
right?
just signed the guy last year in the draft in the second round. I mean, how many times Pac-Man has had his should be uncomfortable, but it comes with consequences.
Yeah.
Cap found that out last year. He's finding that out. Eric Reid, who was the first guy to take up this stance alongside Cap, is finding this out. I'm surprised that Eric Reid wasn't going to kneel during the anthem. He was going to find another way to protest.
That's a legit response.
Okay, so but then when the man asks, when the employer asks, it's like anything. If you get fired from a job, you don't think your employer is going to ask you what happened at your last workplace, Rob? Come on now, Rob, be real now.
Let me see. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, exactly. And so when that happens, you come up and say, how about this, Mr. Brown? Individual could have possibly done. So you know that going in. So I'm surprised that Eric Reid didn't expect this, and he wasn't better prepared to answer this.
I agree with that. Because it sounds like, if I'm interpreting what I read right, that Eric Reid was a little non-committal about it, like he wasn't convincing first to Mike Brown, and even Marvin Lewis, African-American head coach, said, I give you another chance, to clarify your stand. We just need to know exactly where you are. And he said, I have nothing more to say about it.
Because you know what, Skip? Eric Reid obviously is a man of principle.
Yeah.
And if you want to tap dance, some guys just aren't. I'm not going to tap dance and tell you what you want to hear.
But don't be non-committal. Say, I will continue to do this.
Well, he said that he wouldn't kneel, but he's not going to just sign over and say, I'm just going to fall in line and do whatever you want to just play football. I respect that. Rather than lying to an employer, right? I'm going to tell you what you want on the interview day, and then some unarmed teen is going to get gunned down somewhere, and I'm going to sit silent.
Okay.
So I respect that.
All right, but to Shannon's point, for any significant and effective protest we've ever seen in this country, there is always a price to have.
There's no doubt
paid.
about
Yes.
it. I got it.
Eric Reid is now perceived as at least the right-hand man of Colin Kaepernick.
That is correct.
Right? Maybe he's not quite on Colin's pedestal or stature, but he's up there.
Right.
He's second, right? So, again, I'm with you. Listen, I loved Eric Reid coming out of LSU. You can go check the tapes. I raved about him. I would want him on my football team, and he went, remember, 18th overall to the 49ers, and he did make a Pro Bowl. He's had some injuries, and they did try him for a while, linebacker last year, but I still think everybody knows he can still play at a very high level.
Correct.
And he would really fit on that Bengals defense. He'd fit right in because they are physical and they are gray area. Not that he's a physical football player. He will take his pound of flesh. But what happened? The first question I have is, how did Pro Football Talk have this story like instantly?
Because Eric Reid called him.
I don't think Eric Reid called him.
Somebody did. I mean, you know how
You
those
really think
stories-
Eric Reid? I think it was the other way.
I think some of the Bengals put it out there.
Yeah.
Skip, let me ask you a question. Of all these guys that interviewed at the Combine, how many of them you think got asked this question? But it never got out. Somebody's like, is your mom or this? Or if I punched you in the face that? Are you gay? All those questions got out.
Yep.
But none of this about the, so we know somebody told it. Now, this is a bad look because guess what the other team said, okay, well, he's non-committal. Ain't no sense in us bringing him in. Ain't no sense in us wasting his or our time.
Okay, now for the bigger picture. What happened at the recent owners' meetings? A bunch of the owners just walked in the door, boom, 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 starting with Bob McNair from the Houston Texans, and he just said, it's over. I'm paraphrasing, but he just said, not going to happen.
I apologize for apologizing.
I apologize. I take back my apology. And our football field is our sanctuary.
Yeah.
I'm putting words in the mouth a little bit, but he's saying, we will not have politics. We will not have religion.
He's so wrong about this, and this comes back to whether people, and I get it, but it's about the players' union. This should not be happening where players are being singled out, and if you stand in solidarity, you don't even have to agree with it, but you should not allow it to happen. The players run the league, not the owners.
Okay,
they can talk about the money and all that. You have no league. You can't fire all the players. If you can't do it. And the players' union, and to say that they're not about politics, is total garbage. Because they took the Super Bowl away from Arizona. Why?
Nope.
Because they didn't have the Martin Luther King holiday. What does that have to do with football? So you can't come up and make up when it's okay to jump in. NBA, what did they do? They took away this All-Star game from Charlotte. Why? Over the bathroom bill. What does it have to do with basketball?
Got it.
So it's when you want to say, this is what we're standing for. It involves politics and religion. But if somebody else says non-violent way of expressing yourself, not hurting anybody.
I'm with you.
It bothers me so much.
I'm hearing the message not from the commissioner, but from all of these rich, white, billionaire owners. They're saying, we are taking the field we own back. And why are they taking it back? Because they have decided last year's protests were
to stand up and say something.
Because here's the thing, though, Rob. When everybody talks, they talk about our fan base. Like black people do not order
Like
pizza.
we don't care.
We don't buy merchandise.
Well,
like we
to
don't.
your point, what happened to
Papa John's?
Exactly.
What happened?
But here's the thing. It's funny. No religion. Before every game, every team prays before they walk out of the locker room. How many times after the game you see guys in the center of the field? What do they do? They're praying. So now, all of a sudden, this is not the place as these billionaire owners give millions and millions to presidential candidates. But we're going to keep politics. No, we want you to keep your politics out of it. Let me get mine in.
And remember, they would say, we are giving X million dollars to fund your community projects, right? Wasn't that the deal at the end of the year?
I mean, it's a joke, especially coming from a team like Cincinnati that has given, and I have no problem with second chances whatsoever. That's what, you know, that's what our country is.
You know what?
But first of all, Eric Reid doesn't need a second chance. He didn't do anything wrong to have to earn a second chance in the first place. Neither did Colin Kaepernick. But the audacity of these teams to come out and tell you that they're focused on winning when they're prioritizing silent or peaceful protests over winning, and then you have a reputation like the Bengals with 44 player arrests in the last 17 years. I mean, I don't even know which direction to go in.
It's total hypocrisy. If you get a chance, Karan Phillips, who's a columnist for the Daily News, New York Daily News, has a great column today just about this situation. If you get a chance, read it.
Yeah. Rob, thanks for joining us. Should the Cowboys get rid of Des Bryant? We'll discuss that with Ray Lewis next.